today's topic, like I mentioned already, it's the impact of branding on small businesses, and we're doing it with none other than Samin, who I will let her introduce. But I will just introduce myself a little bit for those who don't know me. I'm the founder of Humsath and a branding studio called Lay Stories. Humsath is a passion project that I started not too long ago, actually early this year, and it's been such a great journey so far, alhamdulillah. I absolutely love connecting with small business owners, helping them out. So we've built a community as well. So super, super excited for that. But branding is something that I've been doing for the past 2 years. I've been running my studio, like I said, from London for the past 2 years. And alhamdulillah, we worked with many different clients, so international clients. And currently we're also working with a Pakistani skincare brand, which I can't reveal right now, unfortunately. But if you follow us on Lay Stories, you will see who that brand is. I'm sure all of you guys know. So super excited for that. And alhamdulillah for great opportunities. And for today's guest, I've already talked and mentioned that we have Dr. Samin. I'm not going to give too much away, but I'm going to tell you that she is a doctor turned entrepreneur, which is for me very, very exciting. And, I'm going to, oh, give me a second, let her introduce herself just in a bit. But before we move forward, I'm just going to cover today's agenda so you guys are aware what we're going to be covering. So we'll start with Dr. Samin's introduction. We'll talk about the importance of branding, Samin's journey into entrepreneurship, but also like how did she come up with this idea, the thought behind it, her struggles, and like how she's doing now in her business. And then moving forward, we'll talk about the very important 3 key elements of successful branding, and then the impact of visual identity that you have on your brand. And then we will also cover storytelling and branding. Storytelling, वैसे भी अगर आप सोचो तो हर business में storytelling is very, very important, but in branding specifically, it's also extremely important. And one of the main reasons for that is because that helps you connect with your audience, right? So we'll cover that. We'll also talk about, how branding impacts your sales, which again, we all want to know how. And lastly, we'll go over a few steps that can help you enhance, branding's impact on your sales. And we'll finish off with a Q&A. But we also have a really good surprise for you at the end. So stay with us till the end and you will know what that surprise is. Oops. So we will let Samin talk about her journey, introduce herself. So Samin, do you want to take over?
Yes, of course. So hello, everyone. I am Dr. Samin. I'm a dentist and an aesthetician by profession. First of all, thank you so much, Hira, for such kind words. I really appreciate the wonderful introduction. So I'm, like Hira mentioned, I'm also the founder of Coconael, which I started over a year ago during my postpartum. Honestly, the thought of initiating a business never crossed my mind before because my world only revolved around dentistry. I did not even have the time to think about anything else. But, it's been, this new transition has been quite a journey, but a beautiful one, might I add. And, it's, since Coconael is a home-based business currently, I get to equally work hard at the comfort of my home while taking care of my child. So I feel like that really is a plus for us women in this day and age.
That's great. I have a question. Do you still practice as a doctor, as a dentist, or like it's something you don't?
No, of course. And this is the hardest thing I do struggle with, managing time, giving amount of time to my child, Coconael and clinic. But of course, that is my profession. I can never leave that. I have a degree in that, and Coconael is just a side hustle, but it has honestly turned into my passion, and I love doing that. So I think I'm struggling with it, but I'm taking it side by side.
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays with with the current situation in Pakistan, I feel like, and I've been seeing a lot with with small business owners is like they're trying to do multiple things at the same time, right? They have a full-time job, or they're studying full-time, and then they're also like having some side hustles. So I think unfortunately or fortunately, I think it's a good thing that we're trying to do more, but at the same time I know that it gets really difficult to manage multiple things at the same time, especially with the toddler. So
especially with the toddler. But I'm so, this is it's so amazing to see so many women starting up new business, young mothers, old women also, starting up something new every day. And we should make sure to empower each other than just 100%. Bring each other down. It's really I feel very proud to say that I have so many friends who are mothers and they are doing something or the other. It's very backward to just stay at home and not do anything.
100%. And I think that's why we're here as well, right? That's why like I started Humsath as well. I think the more people see other people working, especially women, because I remember like it's not a very common thing, right? Where women would go out and work, but I am so happy, like, seeing young girls getting out and like turning their passions into a business, a side hustle. So it's really interesting, and I'm really I really liked your story as well, like how you're just like trying to do multiple things, but at the same time like you're not giving up on your passion either.
Yeah. So that's I don't think and honestly my family has been so supportive of that as well. My dad had always wanted me to do dentistry, so that's something that he keeps pushing me for, so I can never quit that. I feel like that is my superpower. And this is just a side hustle that I never thought I would be able to do, but it just this is like the creative side that I never thought I had. So that's why I always say like myself.
Yeah, we always like, I feel like we always have a creative side which we don't discover like until late. Many times it's mainly because like you are given a set path, like okay, you have to either become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. Like when I was growing up, this was it, right? And me being very creative since a very young age, it was very difficult because I didn't know. I didn't know how to discover my creative side. But like thank God and alhamdulillah, like for good parents, and like down the line they did support and they did encourage me to do. And I think with many, I think it's getting that support like from your family helps you so much, and it really pushes you to achieve things that you never think that you would be able to. So tell me a little bit about like what made you start Coconael?
So the journey of Coconael has been quite an interesting one. It was actually during my postpartum when I was on maternity leave, last Ramzan. My mom would always prepare her delicious date truffles like every year. It was always a family favorite. And at that time, I was going through postpartum depression. I was struggling with not being able to go out, being a first-time mom. And it was then when I had thought maybe we could turn this into a venture. And that's when I proposed an idea that truffles were an untapped market. So then I took the original recipe and innovated, by introducing new flavors to it. And while I had the product in hand, my packaging was uncertain. And with zero marketing and branding experience, all I knew at that time was I just want my packaging to stand out, and something that nobody else was doing at that time. So after a lot of research, I realized a vibrant color scheme would do the trick. And that's how Coconael came to life. But there's one thing I would really like to mention here is that Coconael really helped me pick myself up when I was on the verge of losing myself. And at that time, I only had two choices back then. Either I could let PPT, postpartum depression, attack me, or I could make the most challenging phase of my life turn into a beautiful one. And that's how I named my brand after my son, Niall.
Oh, so your son's name is Niall. That's interesting. Okay, that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
No, I'm really glad that I think first of all, it's very important that you're aware of your current situation and you being aware that you were losing yourself and and then you had to make a call. Unfortunately, a lot of the times आपको पता ही नहीं होता कि आप किस चीज से गुजर रहे होते हो, and then you're not able to take the right decision or like act upon it, right? Just to fix things, right? It's very inspiring to hear. Of course, I don't know that experience because I've never been through that, but I'm sure many people have, and many people could relate to it. The fact that, postpartum depression is real and it's really bad, and then it's at that point, like you just have to do something that makes you happy, and yeah, just so that you can get out of it, right? um so that's super, super inspiring. I'm really, really happy to hear that. We'll move forward and we'll cover a little bit about like what branding is. So जब आप branding की बात कर रहे होते हो, so you have a lot of different opinions from different places. So आपकी marketing team कुछ कह रही होगी, आपके business owners कुछ कह रहे होते हैं. But branding is a combination of a lot of things that helps you set a reputation for your brand. और वो reputation कौन set करता है? आपके customers, ठीक है? That's how simple the branding definition is, and that's how I like to define is like, yes, it's your logo, yes, it's your color palette, yes, it's your packaging, it's everything. But what really sets you as a brand is the reputation that your customers have for you, right? और हर customers की different reputation होती है आपकी brand के बारे में. So that's what branding is really. If I move forward, then we can talk about the importance of branding, which actually includes three main components, and it includes like visual identity. So branding actually helps you create a unique visual identity, including your logos, colors, and design that actually helps you distinguish from your business from other businesses, right? Which is very important. आप नहीं चाहते हो कि आप सबके businesses एक जैसे दिखें, right? So in order for you to stand out in your competitive market, then you need to have a very strong visual identity. Not only that, it really helps you connect emotionally with your audience as well. So and how you do that by storytelling, right? It really helps you connect and helps you convey your values as well to your audience through your visual identity. So everything is very linked when it comes to branding. So अगर आप देखें आपकी जो market positioning होगी वो भी बिल्कुल आपकी identity के और आपकी जो emotional connection आप build करेंगे अपने customer से उसी के साथ link होती है, and it actually at the end it helps you stand out within your competitive market. So three really important things in branding is like your visual identity. It actually helps you connect emotionally with your customer, which is very important for you to build that trust and for you to for them to buy from you as well. Jab trust hota hai, then of course they do buy from you, and then also like have a strong position within your market. Now we've covered a little bit about Samin's journey, but I really want to ask her about when she started. Of course, like starting a small business is not easy. There's so much that goes into it. Honestly, Humsath is my kind of second business, even though it's a passion project, but I know the challenges that you face. I know that there's so many things that you come across on a daily basis, and then you have to act and take decisions. So I really want to understand from Samin's point of view, like how is her business doing, and what are the challenges she faces on a daily basis, and like how are you actually overcoming those challenges?
So quality ingredients really helped me build a strong credibility in the market. And because when I started off with date truffles, and because dates were seasonal, it was just the perfect keepsake to give to your loved one, and like during festive seasons. So then I at that time I marketed my brand exactly how I felt about it. For example, I would tell them that I would love to open my fast with these, or like it's the perfect pre or post workout snack, and even that it tastes better with a cup of coffee. So that really resonated with the target audience. But then I realized that dates were seasonal and not everyone is fond of dates. So that is what made me diversify into chocolate truffles. And I feel like one of the major challenges that I faced this year was the import ban imposed in Pakistan. I am getting high quality imported chocolate and dates. So that really affected my business. And I feel like, unfortunately, due to inflation, a lot of business in Pakistan, are facing this backlash. And those are, kind of major challenges for me. But there's one more challenge that I would really like to mention here that we've already spoken about, is how to manage my time with my child, with clinic and Coconael. But I feel like, all the mothers would be able to relate that when you have the right support system, I feel like everything is manageable. So a huge thank you to my husband and family members
Oh,
for
that's
sticking
so
with me.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I mean, so tell me, like, do you only do date and chocolate truffles, or like, is there anything else that you do as well within your business?
Currently, I am only doing date truffles and chocolate truffles, but I do plan to introduce new products in the market.
Oh,
but
that's nice.
Alhamdulillah, like when I introduced chocolate truffles, I got such an overwhelming response. I never expected that. I did not. You know how you are always so scared to take a step to just to risk it. So when I took the plunge, alhamdulillah, like it really boosted my confidence and it really boosted my brand recognition with chocolate truffles. So of course, I'm really motivated to introduce more products into the brand.
No, that's really nice.
Yeah.
So how you mentioned about like your biggest challenge was like import. How are you dealing with that right now? Like what's your way?
Sorry, yeah. So I do, at that time, it was really tough because Eid was going on. It was like a seasonal thing and I was getting bulk orders. So I did manage to get, suppliers from different cities in Pakistan. But now the situation is a little better and I am managing that. So at that time, it got really strict and they weren't just uplifting the ban. It was pretty strict. But alhamdulillah, things have gotten better.
Okay,
yeah. But otherwise, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
So how you asked about, overcoming challenges. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, less competing, more collaborating.
100%.
And I feel like collaborating helps every business owner, be it on any level, boost their brand. And that's what I started doing initially. And I still collaborate, but that's what I started doing to get my brand name out there. I would send PR packages. I would stock at different pop-ups and festivals. So I feel like that really helped me align my marketing strategies.
No, that's really good. I think that's what's important as well, right? It's like taking a shift, like, and knowing what you need to do when you come across a challenge. And like sometimes ek rasta jab band hota hai, like there's always another door that opens up, right? So I think it's all about being attentive and like figuring out like, okay, like I can't just sit and cry about the situation. Like, a lot of the time that's what happens as well. And I feel like especially as women, like I think ye cheez bahut common hai ke we tend to give up a lot quicker, right? We're very easy. Oh, mere saath hi kyun ho raha hai? And like, why is this happening to me? I just started this and that. There's so many things, and like I feel like it's at that point when you really need to just like pick yourself up and be like, okay, no, I need to figure something out. And having said that, like, do you think that you can't find like high quality chocolate, in Pakistan? Yeah, so you were always sure like, okay, no, I need some really good quality ones from abroad?
No. At that time, it was, like a few years ago, it was pretty easy to find chocolate. There were a lot of suppliers here, but because of the import ban, there are a lot of restrictions, and because of the inflation also, it's really affecting how the prices are going high every day. So it does affect one's business. So if I have a price set for my products and I am using imported chocolate that's consistently, I'm getting at a higher rate. So that really is putting me in a loss.
Yeah,
so
100%.
That's something that, we all of us are facing in Pakistan, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, mera yehi question tha, like my next question was actually about this, like how are you pricing your products? Because I know that small businesses especially are struggling a lot with, especially those who are importing, stuff from abroad. But like, every day there is a new price, right? There is a new rate for you. So how are you dealing with the price change and like convincing your customers? Like how's that process for you?
So, I'll be very honest with you. This year, when I introduced chocolate truffles, I haven't increased a single penny in my price list. I have not increased it because I know that the product already is so premium. I don't think a lot of people would be willing to buy it. Maybe in a few months I will. But what I am dealing with right now is maybe, I would contact the supplier and buy in bulk, to get a good price point for it. I'm adjusting my products like that. So that way I don't have to increase. I mean, I am in a loss a little bit, but I think in a few months maybe I will increase the price point. But I feel like it's already an expensive product, and
so can we get a range of your price, if you don't mind? Like, do you want to share the range of your prices?
Yes, of course. It starts from 950 to it goes on to like 4,000.
Okay, that's not too bad actually.
Different sizes. Yeah, the boxes come in different sizes, and
so it basically depends on like how many you want to get, right? And then the prices depend on that. Honestly, it's not too bad. Yeah. I thought it would be a lot worse.
It's not too bad.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but then like in Pakistan, there are people who are willing to pay, but then again, there are some people who do not want to pay for it.
Yeah. I do understand.
There's no balance.
Especially when there is very less competition, because honestly speaking, when I came across your page, I thought it was like not a Pakistani based brand, right? I thought it was like an international brand, and I was like, okay, wow, this is amazing, and I'm gonna order. So I was trying to look like where it's based, because if it was based in London, I would have ordered. Already, I feel like my first impression, and I think this is like I really want to touch upon like how important your first impression is on a brand as well. अभी हम सब small businesses कहाँ पे run कर रहे हैं, like on Instagram mainly, right? Mainly Instagram is our main platform. And the way when you meet a new person, you have a first impression. It's the same about different brands as well, right? When you land on someone's page on Instagram, you want to make sure that the person landing on that page has a great impression about my brand, right? And branding, again, it's all about feeling, how you feel about it. And I'm not going to sugarcoat or anything. So, I mean, honestly speaking, like when I saw your products and the overall packaging, the way you photographed everything, it's done so beautifully. And it really, helps me connect. It really made me feel like, oh, wow, like this is great. Like I want to order, like, even though I don't know the quality of your product, I haven't tried anything. I haven't heard about your brand from anyone, to be honest. But at the same time, like, okay, I am already in love. So there is no way I'm not going to place an order, right? So wait for me to come to Pakistan and I'm placing an order for sure.
That's really sweet for you. So overwhelmed. Thank you so much. No, but funny, you're talking about this at the beginning, I would get messages from people asking me what my page is about, because they would get confused and they would think, because the packaging looks so unique to them, they confused it more. It looked more like a keepsake. And this is also one of the struggles I faced. I realized it later that maybe I'm not showing more of what's inside than outside, and that is how I overcame these challenges as well. Like people thought that it wasn't like a chocolate shop. It was, I'm not selling chocolates, I'm just selling keepsakes. So I started showing more of what's inside the box.
Yeah, no, I totally understand where they were coming from, because like your initial post were like more like your packaging and everything. And yes, people can get confused, but no, I love everything about it. Not gonna lie. So moving forward, we're going to discuss 3 key elements of a successful branding, starting with logo, right? Logo is your visual representation of your business. So you really want to make sure that, it's good, it's out there, it's making an impact, like it's grabbing attention, right, of your audience. You don't want anything that's minimal. Even if you go with something minimal, like the font here is very minimal if you see like her Samin's logo, but the color that she went for, like they're bold, like आप जाके भी ignore नहीं कर सकते. That's how you want to make sure, and it only helps you stand out in your market. Like if I was, for example, to just go on Instagram and search for like chocolate truffles in Pakistan hashtag or whatever, right, and I will only go through the feed and if a color that pops out, I will click on that. Why? Because it's the color makes a huge difference, and that's something we will discuss moving forward. Is like your color palette is so important. It really helps you set the tone of your brand. It really helps you, for your audience to connect emotionally with your brand as well. Even though Samin do have like some minimal, like, pastel colors as well, but her main color is really bold, that's grabbing attention, that's really making an impact, right? So it's really important that you, whenever you think about designing your logo for your business, whenever you think about your color palette, make sure that you do have some bold colors, especially in Pakistan. I feel like, being in London, I know that yahan pe you do get away with minimal nude colors and all, but when in Pakistan, I've noticed that it's just not a thing. Like, people like colors, people like, things on your face. And as a small business, if you really want to make an impact and stand out within your competitive market, you need to create that kind of impression. And your first thing is, it starts with your logo and your colors that you choose for your brand. So do pay attention to that. And at the same time is focusing on your brand voice as well, because it really helps you communicate with your audience. So if you look at Samin's feed, you will see that there's so much consistency throughout the brand. There's like a similar kind of photographs being taken, right? There's like, you can see like, okay, yes, this belongs to this brand. Like, no, there is no odd picture within any of her pictures, right? And that's basically, you are communicating through pictures, because it's a very visual platform. So your brand voice can be from like in very different ways, and you need to make sure that it's consistent throughout all other platforms as well. So that's very important to remember. And then now we're going to talk about the packaging. I know Samin did talk about it a little bit, but packaging, again, for a product-based business is very, very important, which is why I think it's important to, I really want to understand like the thought behind it, like what went behind Coconael's packaging, and the impact that it's creating right now. So how about you share with us, Samin?
So I wanted to go for colors that would attract the customer's eye. And I wanted to create an appealing design that would entice the customers to explore further. And this is why I always like to introduce colors, because, it helps the customers to keep coming back. And because, our community is so generous that way, Hira, that people are always on the lookout for something new. They don't want to give this thing back. So I feel like having that variation of colors really helped me boost my brand recognition. Having said that, my truffles, I'm selling high quality truffles. So I wanted to give a premium feel to the brand, because I wanted the buyers to know that they are getting what they're paying for. And,
100%.
Since truffles are delicate and they are to be handled with care, I had to come up with a packaging that wouldn't ruin the quality of my truffles, and something that could be easily refrigerated. And I feel like, in my opinion, while we're talking about packaging, I feel like every brand should invest more time into this aspect, is because it does create a strong first impression. It does boost brand recognition, and it does, like you said, foster emotional connection. And it adds
100%.
perceived value to it. I feel like it is very important for any brand.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and वही बात है कि this is your first impression. Nobody has tasted your truffles yet, right? And they're going to make, so again, वही premium भी है, right? So you need to justify your price as well. And this is how you're going to do, like, your overall, not just your product, but your overall look of your brand needs to reflect that as well. A lot of the times, unfortunately, we do see that people do want to sell premium products, but again, the overall look of the brand doesn't match that, and which is why people don't pay for it, because the price doesn't justify it, right? So I again, it's really definitely an eye-catching packaging. Tell me a little bit about your process of creating that packaging. How did you go about it? Did you create it yourself?
I did have a vision in mind. Like I said, the truffles, the product that I had was very delicate. And I had a vision. I wanted something very sleek, something very minimal. But, I did struggle a lot with packaging initially. I could not find the right fit. And, after a lot of R&D, research and development, I came up with a packaging. There was finally someone who understood what I wanted. And I then, I did notice that nobody else was doing that at that point. So that was like the perfect startup for me. So I, like for example, how I have those separators. I wanted individual separators in each box, in a single box of 3 or 6. So I had that vision in mind, and thankfully it did come to life.
No, that's great. So you did outsource people to help you with the packaging, right?
I do have a vendor on board that has stuck by me, and he creates the boxes for me, and I tell him
that's
the colors I want. So he does outsource it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, honestly, as a business owner, I just want to highlight this. You can't do everything yourself, right? There's just so much that you can, and you shouldn't be doing everything yourself.
Of course. And I do want to give a shout out to all the labor that, is working hard for us day and night, because without them, our brand won't exist. So, it's those people that are making our brand more presentable.
No, 100%. And I think the vendor that you're working with, he's doing an amazing job at it because it's really creating an impact. But yes, again, I really want to quickly highlight, like, be it your packaging boxes, delivery box, your labels, your thank you cards, anything, it needs to reflect what your brand is all about. It needs to reflect the values your brand holds, right? So if you are a premium brand, like, everything needs to reflect that, right? So that people, that's how like you provide a good customer service as well, right? एक दफा तो पहले आप first impression set करते हो visually images और आपकी जो photography होती है उससे, right? Secondly, आपका जो customer service होता है वो when people get your product, how do they feel about it, right? Are they happy with the product? Are they like, connecting with it? Because you want them to return, you want them to come back to you and buy from you over and over again, right? And that will only happen if like everything that you do when you deliver, don't take these things lightly, like do pay some attention. ये बहुत छोटी छोटी details होती हैं, but it's super important that you do pay attention to those, because at the end it does make a really big impact on your business overall. So let's talk about storytelling. Storytelling, I love storytelling. I think one of the reasons why I'm able to connect with my audience, on Humsath, or like they can relate to my content, and it's because everything that we put out there is like really story led, right? It's the same, like whoever we work with, like on a branding studio, Live Stories, we make sure that everything, I mean, the name Live Stories came from like stories, right? We wanted to highlight women's stories there. So, it's important that everything your brand especially does, have a story behind it. And because it will only help you connect emotionally with your audience. And now connecting emotionally with your audience is way more important than how it used to be before. I know like पहले आप कुछ साल पहले आप कोई भी product post करते थे या किसी के बारे में कुछ भी आप sell करना चाहते थे, it was very easy because people didn't want to connect with you, right? They didn't want to see who's the founder behind this brand. They didn't care about that. But nowadays, the more we move forward, I'm seeing this is becoming a lot more important. People have become very conscious about where they're spending their money. So if they're able to connect with you and your brand emotionally, then they will buy from you. It's so simple, but it has such a big impact as well. Which is why let's talk about like a few things that help you craft a strong brand storytelling, right? First of all, it's like authenticity. It's very, very important. You need to bring your authentic self, through your brand so that people can help. And you can do that by sharing your journey, your challenges, your win, so people can relate to it. And and everything needs to be with honesty and authenticity. Only then they'll be able to connect. Let's talk about values. Values are very important. Everything that you do in your business need to reflect your values and your principle, because that's what is going to drive your business as well, right? It will help you grow. It will help you connect with your audience. Emotions is very, very important. So talk about things that people can relate to as well, right? Creating emotion is is important again for buyer's journey. If I don't feel connected to a brand, I won't buy with it, right? Beshak, I don't know the person or the brand personally, or I need to be able to connect. And how you do is like through visuals, right? And that, because again, that's your first impression. And lastly is consistency, or you need to be consistent throughout. It's going to be hard at first, but you need to bring some kind of consistency. Use the same colors, use the same style of fonts, use the same way of talking to people. It's so important that when you write a caption or when you write a post, if it's a written post, then you need to make sure that the tone of voice, the language that you use, there's some kind of consistency. All of this is part of branding. All of this will help you create that reputation that you want to have, right, for your brand. And eventually what will happen is, when you have all of these things in place, it will help you bring more sales. How it's going to happen, like I'm going to let Samin talk about how her brand really helped bring more sales, right? Like her visual identity that she has, how people connect to it, and how it has helped her her followers turn into customers.
Okay, so there is no shortcut to success. I have a long way ahead of me, but I feel like all of these factors that you've mentioned here do play a huge role in adding value to one's brand. And I feel like what set Coconael apart from other competitors was not only the product, but also the packaging again. And I feel like playing around with colors really helped me do the trick. When it comes to trust and reliability, I feel like winning your customer's heart should be your second biggest aim after perfecting your product. How do you do that? By delivering consistently on their promises. I've had like repeated customers with bulk orders, and even international customers who order for their family in Pakistan, and they would literally blindly trust me to deliver their products up to par. And I'm not gonna lie, I've had to build that over time by delivering consistently high quality product. And you've mentioned here about emotional connection. It is so important. I feel like handwritten or customized thank you notes hold such deep value, because like whenever a customer is coming to me to customize a personal note for them, I love doing that. My team and I are always willing to go out of the way to design that card especially for them, because I feel like that also really helps me connect emotionally. It does help me create emotional bond with my customer. And again, like about I feel like here are social media algorithms are pretty messed up. So you are always coming up with ways to market your brand. And nowadays Instagram ads, Facebook ads, they're pretty much outdated now.
Yeah.
And I feel like for effective and consistent marketing, I feel like for me, I love making content and trending videos to drive traffic. And I feel like for any brand, that should be the main goal, because for example, Instagram reels are so much trending. Everyone, and you don't even know which reel would go viral these days.
You really don't.
Yeah, so you need to be really up to par with that. And I feel like these are the factors that would help with marketing one's brand.
No, 100%. I agree with everything that you said. And another thing I'd like to add here is, like, when you create content, like you need to make sure that you're keeping your audience in mind. A lot of the times, unfortunately, what happens is like we create content that we like to see as well, but sometimes like our audience don't like to see that, right? So keeping your audience in mind and not really paying attention to the algorithm, even though like it does play a role, it does impact everything that you do. But I think eventually kya hota hai, you do have a slow start to it if you continue creating content for your audience. So I've seen it like firsthand with Humsath as well. Like, initially we were creating content that was just trendy and that we wanted to create, right? And even though there was some drive, or like we had some views and all, but people were not engaging. And what was more important for us was like, we wanted people to engage with our content, and that only started happening when we actually started creating specifically for our audience without thinking about the algorithm, without thinking about what I like or what my team likes, right? It's more about like, okay, what my audience wants, and we're just going to provide that. And that has made a huge shift, even though our views might be low, but our engagement is all-time high at this point. Why? Because we are speaking directly to the audience. So I think whenever you create any brand, be it a service based or a product based, it's very important that you're directly speaking to your audience, you're directly connecting with them. And that will, again, it goes back to the same thing. It helps you build your emotional connection. It helps you differentiate from your competitors. It helps you turn your followers into customers, right? And that's what you want, and you want them to be repeat customers as well. So I really liked how you covered this, and how like you using these techniques as well, because I think it's important to highlight those, and like the impact that it has overall in your business. And it does, वही बात है, there's no shortcut to like bringing sales and all. We all have a very slow start, लेकिन eventually जब आप when you're consistent, you do you do start seeing some change, you do see an increase. And I'm sure you must have seen it as well. शुरू में must be slow, but over time आपकी sales increase हो गई होंगी. Over time, like everything must have gone better.
And also, I would like to mention one thing here, that, starting off, I feel like sending PR packages and stocking up at pop-ups. Yeah, itne hote pop-ups and festivals, and they really help, to get the brand name out there. So it really helps
Yes.
with that. Having said that, I feel like how you present your brand, for example, you need to focus on photography and videography, like having a good lighting, having like getting a professional shoot done. And I feel like that gives a first impression. People want to buy your product. आप जिस तरह present करोगे अपने product को, that's when people will come and buy it.
100%, 100%. Especially because you can't feel it, right? You can't feel the product, right? And I feel like कि जब आप online buy करते हो कुछ भी, like you're buying product based on like how you feel visually, right? And I think वही होता है, आप कपड़े भी online shop करो तो यही होता है, like okay, yeah, I really do like how it's looking on this model, or like how the color is like vibrant, right? That's how you make the purchase. Basic, or like when you order it and it's not the same and you're disappointed, but you make your purchase based on that, right? And which is why it's very, very important.
And
lastly,
also,
yes, go
I
ahead.
feel like, sorry to cut you off, I feel like being consistent with your brand, and that's something I really need to work on as well. I do slack sometimes because there's so many things to manage at once, but I feel like consistently posting and making reels, posting consistently marketing your brand really helps you boost your sales. And really, if not boost your sales, it does help you engage with your audience more, and it does help you at the right time. It will help you get your target audience. So I feel like sooner than later, better late than never, like it will help you some way or the other. So I feel like sometimes we do get disappointed by हमारे इतने views नहीं आ रहे, हमारे इतने likes नहीं आ रहे. ये बहुत छोटी सी चीजें हैं. At the end of the day, we should just focus on being consistent.
No, 100%. And I think it's वही बात है, when it comes to content creating, Like we tend to give up so quickly just because we're not seeing instant results, right?
Exactly.
And it's all a matter of finding, like, what works for you. So posting consistently really doesn't mean that you have to post 7 times a week. Like just find what works for you without you burning out, because you have to be, like, be mindful of your health and everything. Like especially with like working moms, right? They don't have the time to just sit there and spend hours in creating content and then post, right? So it's just a matter of finding and what works for you and being consistent with that. So it can also be like 3 times a week. That's enough, right? So I really like that point that you highlighted here, Samin. But in order for us to continue, I will talk about a few steps that can help you enhance, branding's impact on sales as well. And that includes, like, clarifying your brand identity. It's super important that you have a very clear brand personality, your mission, your values, because that can help you create a strong identity, right? Not only that, I think ये आपकी बहुत एक base है, right? This will actually help you so much long term, if you have this in place, like right at the beginning, because then again people would know. It's like, we all know what Nike is, right? We all know what Adidas is, right? We know what Apple is. And even if we don't see it, or we don't, like, see Apple, we just know it's like the symbol of it. We know it's Apple, and that's like brand recognition, right? So you want your brand to be recognized like that among your competitors, among your, like, within your audience, so that people know, okay, yes, I know this brand. Like just looking at the color, I know, like, this is Samin's brand, which is Coconael, right? Like I know it's bright orange. So that's how you actually help connect. No, I'm serious, these are just small
Yeah.
things, and like,
Yeah.
you don't pay attention to it, like, ऐसा ही होता है. And I've seen this over and over again, and and it's just how it is. It's funny how human mind works as well, right? Because we're able to connect to these things like that. But again, bringing consistent visual as well is again very, very important as well. You have to use color, fonts, and design elements, like all across the platforms. Like it needs to be consistent. ये नहीं है कि आप Instagram पे कोई और font or colors use कर रहे हो, or TikTok पे आप कोई और use कर रहे हो. Like there needs to be some consistent, and the more people see your brand, the more people remember you as well. So again, another tip here is, like, don't just rely on Instagram. I think just start exploring other platforms as well. Have a website if you can, and then make sure that it's SEO friendly, so that you can come on the Google page as well. So all these things are like can help you get recognized as well. Engage emotionally. We talked about it, how, like, having a story led brand is very important. Why? Because it helps you resonate emotionally with your target audience. You want to talk about your experiences, you want to talk about your struggles, your wins, so people relate. A great way for this is like to do voiceovers on a B-roll. I always see, like, when you do like behind the scene aapki video where you're packing or anything, but you're talking about an experience as a, like, in a voiceover manner, it really does help people to connect, and they do stay engaged with those videos as well. I love those videos because it helps you know what the brand is about, right? Like what the story is. And then quality assurance. Of course, it's really important that your product or service lives up to the promises that you make. A lot of the times आप बहुत बड़े-बड़े promises कर लेते हो, लेकिन you're not able to deliver, and that's where there's a problem, because that breaks the trust, right? So it's important that you are delivering on everything that you promise to your audience. It's again, it creates a really strong impact when you think long term wise in your business, and you want to make sure that you're really, like, connecting well with your audience. And shuru mein to you have to keep very close to your audience, right? You have to make sure that you keep, agar aapke 10 bhi customers hai, you want to keep them, and you can do that by delivering on your promises. And lastly is customer feedback is so important. Aap kuch bhi karo, whatever you're doing, please do gather some feedback from your customers, be it good or bad, it doesn't matter, because it will only help you improve your product or service, right? So whatever you do, always try to improve your product based on the customer service, because those are your customers and they know what they want and they know what they don't want. So you want to make sure that the product that you create is for them and according to what they want and like. Do you want to add anything, Samin?
I just want to say that, having a variation of different, making your brand page look more attractive. There are many ways that you can go through. You can, I feel like there's no harm in taking inspiration from Pinterest or taking inspiration from any other brand. But at the end of the day, I feel like just come up with something your own. And everyone has a creative side. We just need to let it
100%.
out. We just have to put yourself out there. And I feel like a human mind can do anything. It's so powerful. And I feel like whenever you start a brand, you discover a different side of yourself. Like, I did not know anything about branding. I did not know anything about marketing. My mind was always in like medical, dentistry, and all of this. And I feel like I discovered a creative side of myself. I discovered a business side of myself. So I feel like just putting yourself out there and, challenging yourself, really, that is the biggest boost that you would need. And because, you are your biggest cheerleader.
100%. I love that. I think it's so, so important. It's funny because I was recording content for social media, and one of the video is about actually not copying other brands and like businesses, right? And the reason why you're not actually seeing some sales or like attraction in your brand is because सारी brands एक जैसे दिखते हैं, especially ये जो service based businesses होते हैं या even product based भी होते हैं. Like when we start, of course we're so like overwhelmed and we want to be like a brand that is already successful in their market, right? So we try to copy everything and then we just get lost and we just like, why are we not seeing any sales? Why are we not seeing any customers coming through? And the reason is because you're not standing out. Like, you're just doing what everyone is doing and people don't want that. And I think that it's something you mentioned earlier as well. Like, Pakistani market is so open to always wanting to have something new, right? Like they do like that, right? That's how the market is. आप जितना नया लेके आओगे उतना आप attract करते हो customers को, right? So yeah, it's a very, very valid point. And so have your own identity, like, take inspiration from other people, but have your own touch so that you can stand out among your competitors, right?